Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the nutrition seminar. This is the online replay version of it. My name is Ali Virtue. I am a functional medicine nutritionist or nutrition coach and the owner of Parkside Nutrition. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. All right, how much do I eat? This is the nerdy answer. So I pointed you to the bottom of the pyramid initially with this question, but this one will get a little bit more nerdy. So if you want specifics, I will guide you through these. But remember, everything we have just talked about previous to this will get you so far. So this next part is not required. It is purely because these questions came up during the talk and I want to give you as much information as possible. So here we go. So this is the nerdy answer to how much do I need to eat in a day. So you can use equations. I tend to not do that. I want to get a good snapshot of what the body is doing in that moment, what the person's eating, etc. So I have them track their food using the Chronometer app, and they track their calories and macros, so protein, carbs, and fat, fiber, and they do that for 7 to 10 days. And they also get morning body weights. And this is so I know, based on the calories that they consume, what their body weight does. So typically when someone starts logging their food, even if I tell them to eat normal, because they're logging it, they tend to eat a little bit less. So because of that, I want to know that. And so if I see their body weight tend to trend downwards, I know that the calories that they're eating on average for that week is leading to a calorie deficit. So if they have a weight loss goal, I'm not going to take away more food. That amount is already a calorie deficit and already weight loss calories. So I'm going to take a daily average for the week, what you ate on average for the week. This is because a lot of people eat a lot one day and then nothing the next day and then a lot the next day, etc. So they'll have this kind of roller coaster back and forth, and I need to know what the average is. That's more important on the weekly basis than having a perfect day and then a terrible day and a perfect day. And then from there, I'm going to determine if that's a deficit, calorie deficit for them, if that's maintenance, if their weight goes up, they're in a surplus. You can also use body measurements, but body weight is usually just fine. So this is a snapshot of what this graph looks like, or chart looks like, for my clients. And you can see, a decent amount of variation day to day. And I'm looking at the averages typically. Also looking roughly at the percentages. So this person could probably increase their protein a little bit. It's a little bit on the low side, and see what their body weight does. You can see this is a calorie deficit for them as they go through the week. But this calorie amount might change as we go. But it's important to know that this is already creating weight loss for them. And I do try to keep activity fairly normal at the same time. Just for your information, recommended weight loss rate is typically 0.5 pound to 3 pounds a week. That's a huge variation. And obviously that's going to depend on how much weight that person has to lose. But 0.5 pound a week sounds really slow, but it's very maintainable. And that's about 25 pounds for the whole year, which is definitely a meaningful amount. And this will change. Initially, you'll see more weight loss drop. And as you get closer to your ideal weight, the rate of loss will be a lot slower. But in general, these are some guidelines. 2 to 15 pounds in a month is not crazy. 15 pounds in a month is aggressive, that's for sure. That's probably someone who has more weight to lose. And you can also go by percentages. So like 1 to 3% of body weight per month is another one. But to be fair, I honestly don't look at these too much. They're not terribly important. You can do this in a really unhealthy or healthy way. And I'm more interested in making the path healthy and sustainable than getting these specific markers and making sure that people lose 15 pounds in a month. If that's not going to be a healthy path for you, we're not going to do it. All right, so this is a little bit, again, so if you counted your calories and macros are really important as well, but if you counted your food for a week and you wanted to take that number, so let's use an easy number and say 2,000 calories, that's our example here. So I tracked my food for a week and I got 2,000 calories on average and my weight stayed the same. So if I wanted to create weight loss for that, if I wanted to create a mild weight loss, I would subtract 10 to 15%. That would give me 1,700 calories to consume. And then I could go all the way up to being really aggressive, 30 to 35% subtraction. That's an aggressive difference. That is not something I recommend, but it's in the literature. So not recommended, but just to give you guys an example of what that could look like. All right, what matters most? Because we're getting a little bit in the weeds here with a little bit of numbers. And so I want to kind of bring it back to what technically matters most as far as the science when it comes to weight loss. So for body composition change, I should say, calories drive a lot of that. So if I want to gain weight, I need to be in a calorie surplus. If I want to add mass, add tissue, aka muscle to my frame, most likely need to add more calories, right? If you have been training or lifting weights for a really long time, this is especially important. If you are newer to training and you are newer to CrossFit or lifting weights, then you could probably be in calorie maintenance, so not necessarily gaining weight, and you could probably add muscle mass to your frame and lose fat at the same time. It's hard to do. It doesn't last forever. If you've been training for a while, you usually need to periodize things and focus on muscle gain and then lose weight and then focus on muscle gain and then lose fat, etc. So just to add some science in here so you don't think that everybody can automatically gain muscle and lose weight at the same time or lose fat at the same time. It's not always that easy. But let's see. So calories do drive a lot of these body composition changes. Micros, so your vitamins and minerals, are very important. This is incredibly important for health, obviously. Macros are the next biggest driver. So making sure that you have enough protein is really important. If we want to simplify it again, calories and protein are probably the two biggest numbers, most important numbers. If we're just talking about numbers, as far as driving body composition change or weight loss, muscle gain as well, you have to have enough protein going in to build that new muscle mass. And then meal timing. So this is kind of like third or fourth on the list of important things. And then we have supplements at the very top. So again, working with our foundations here, we need to make sure that the calories are at a reasonable amount. Macros, I'm getting enough protein. Then meal timing, that's when we can make sure that we're getting protein before and after workouts, carbs before and after workouts, things like that. But again, not the most important. So if things get stressful, you're not able to execute everything you want, we can simplify things. All right, so what if you don't want to lose weight and you just want to optimize things, you want to feel better in the gym as far as your athletic performance, energy levels, things like that. So we can definitely do that. So this is a guide to kind of do that. So method one would be to take your calories. So use my 2,000 calorie example, and I would find 30% of those calories should go to protein. 35 to 40% of those calories, roughly, should go to carbohydrates. 30 to 20% of those calories should go to fats. 20% of fat, 20% fat for a diet is on the low fat side. So I would say 30 to 35. If you are a little bit sensitive to carbs or have a history of prediabetes or diabetes in your family, I would probably say 30 to 35%, maybe 40% fat, and bring the carbs down a little bit. This one depends a little bit more on our health markers and things like that. Method two would be to take your ideal body weight and calculate your protein, 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and that will give you your protein. So if I am a 140-pound person and I'm roughly at my ideal weight, I would calculate roughly 1 gram per pound of body weight. So that'd be 140 grams of protein per day that I need to consume. You could go up to 1.25 on that. That would be your upper limit of protein. Most people don't need to go that high because it's pretty filling. It's pretty hard to eat that much without pounding protein shakes, but that is a general range. And the rest of the calories can go to carbs or fats, kind of what people prefer. You can change it on day to day. If you have a really high training day and you want to have more carbohydrates and fats, go for it. If you have a rest day and you want to have more fats than carbs, go for it. Protein and overall calories are going to be the bigger drivers. Remember that. All right, so this is digging into a little bit more of the questions that we got at the end of the seminar. Fasting is a big hot topic. So generally it's better for men than women. I find that women don't have as good results with it. It's also really hard to get that amount of protein in. So if you don't have any context for the protein numbers that we just talked about, let me tell you, it will be difficult to get enough protein in 2 meals. If I'm skipping a meal and I'm only having breakfast and dinner, that means a large amount of protein at those 2 meals. So for that reason, I usually don't recommend it. This can be helpful, but it's not magic. Remember that. No dietary strategy is particularly magical. There's usually a couple reasons why it works or why it doesn't work for those particular people. It is good for limiting snacking after dinner. Absolutely really good for that. And so that does cut a lot of calories for a lot of people. They usually sleep better as well because they're not going to bed on a full stomach. So for that reason, I do like that particular recommendation. And then a 12 to 14 hour fast is normal. I would say some days a 16-hour fast is normal because it's just simply having an early dinner and then maybe sleeping in the next day will naturally create a fast like that. Another key point is any particular dietary strategy. I have problems with diets when they make you feel like you have to do this all the time and you have to do it perfectly or you're off the wagon. If you're not hungry one morning and you want to go, sit in your garden and garden for a couple extra hours before you have breakfast, you technically had a longer fast. You did intermittent fasting that day. So you don't have to do this stuff every day. If you really just want to have maybe a longer fast because it makes you feel good on Saturday mornings, by all means, go do that. But it doesn't have to be black and white with things like that. So please listen to your body, be mindful of what it's telling you. But those are just some of my takeaways on fasting. When to eat, just to circle back, when you are hungry, not when you are sad, not when you're lonely, not when you are feeling stressed. Again, we circle back to those mindful eating habits and making sure that we are conscious of when we are eating, why we are eating, and not to compensate for something that hunger or food cannot cure. If you are not hungry, food usually does not solve that problem in a long-term way. And again, note, if we are trying to pursue health goals, timing of meals is way less important than the overall picture of what we are consuming. So don't get too overwhelmed with the timing of things. All right, so this is a summary here of kind of everything we talked about. So this is my general approach. Please start at the bottom of the pyramid if you want to build a strong foundation and work your way up. Again, so many people can see so much amazing success without having to go all the way to the top of the pyramid. Get your baseline, see what you are consistently doing, work to build that consistency with those basics. Focus on what you want your plates to look like, adjust them as needed. How much to eat? Listen to your body. That's going to give you the best indication. Keeping these elements in mind, and this particular graphic, remember, is to reinforce what we're trying to do here on our pyramid. So I want to move every day. That's going to build my neat. I want to have balanced meals. I'm going to have more protein. That's going to retain more muscle mass. If I do want to lose weight, it's going to build more muscle mass so I can increase my BMR. So this is how we hack metabolism, so to speak. And I think this is a really good thing to keep in mind when you do see stuff in the media and be like, hang on, Allie said this is how metabolism works. I think actually I should just do these simple, basic lifestyle things than the latest fad, the latest magic pill, because it probably doesn't apply to this. If you do want to track your food here and figure out my nerdy way of how much to eat, I definitely recommend the Chronometer app. It has a lot of good resources. It will also show you how much micronutrients, so the vitamins and minerals you are consuming. So it's a nice focus on the quality of food versus the quantity as well. You can also turn off calories, so you can't see calories, macros, things like that, if that's been a trigger for you in the past. So it's a pretty cool app for that reason. All right, so next steps here. As a thank you for attending this replay, please book your complimentary call. So you can get your phone out here and scan this QR code here in black and book your 30-minute complimentary call where we can go over your goals. You can use our handouts here. So by all means, start to get your baseline, start to track your habits, and then write down what you eat over this next week. And then bring that to our appointment and we can talk through it and see what are some changes that we can introduce that can get you going towards your goals. So make sure you get your appointment booked and download the materials here. And I can't wait to talk to you soon. And if you have any questions at all, here's my contact info. So Allie@parksidenutrition.com. Call or text me at this number. And again, hopefully I will chat with you soon on our call. Thanks for watching and have a great day.